Hello and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so, oh, wait, sorry guys. I think I have a phone call. Hello? Who is this? Hello? I can't hear you. Wait, what? Wait, your name's New York? This is New York? Hold on. Guys, I'm gonna have to take this call. Okay, that was actually the worst thing I could have done to start this video, and you can click off. I just didn't know how to start this. I've always felt this calling to New York. I have always had this picture in my head of living in New York at some point in my life. I've had this vision ever since I knew I wanted to be an artist. Because if you don't know me, I'm an artist, I'm a painter. I've had this vision because New York is notoriously one of the best places for art. I currently live in Chicago, which is absolutely amazing, but this vision of being in New York has just been getting louder and louder in my head, and I've never even visited, and I've always wanted to. So I decided enough was enough, and this is something that I want in my life. I first need to even see if I like the place. I need to scope the area out. I impulsively booked a trip from Chicago. Oh, sorry. The train. Oh, wait. Anyways, I booked a trip for 4 days to New York from Chicago. And if you're not coming from my last video, this is part 2 of my trip to New York because I had so much footage and thoughts about my trip and from my trip that I couldn't just make it one hour-long video. So I decided to split it into 2 parts. So this is gonna be my final 2 days in New York. But if you want to see my first 2 days in New York and my initial thoughts, go watch that video, then watch this video, but you don't really need to. Do what you want. This is going to be my final 2 days in New York, and I'm going to come to my conclusions, and we're going to gather around, and I'm excited to share them with you, and I'm going to stop talking and get to it. I woke up and took a bus from my Williamsburg hostel into DUMBO Brooklyn. It was a windy and a very sunny day, and I was just super excited to explore some more Brooklyn. If you didn't come from my last video, you wouldn't know that I did this trip completely alone. I love to solo travel. You just get this mass sense of freedom. I just always feel so grateful that I can experience these moments with myself, and I was really feeling that as I was looking at the view of the city. I ended up landing in the place I always see on Pinterest and all these places of the best spot to get a picture of the bridge. It's a great selfie place. I didn't take any selfies, but I watched people take their selfies, and it was just really cute. It was just fun to see all the people just being super excited and happy to be there. I want to talk about perspective for a second here. So basically, I was in Dumbo, right? And after exploring Dumbo, I was planning to head to a new area, and I was immediately thinking I would just head to Lower Manhattan, which was right across the Brooklyn Bridge. I wanted to go there, but I also really was needing food. I was getting really hungry, and so I wanted to just kind of pick something up quick. So I looked up food around me, and I found this Mediterranean place called Naya. So they had a location in downtown Brooklyn, which was probably 20 minutes away from me, walking. And then they also had one in the financial district of Lower Manhattan, which is right where I wanted to go next.
So I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go to the one in financial district so I can just kind of like place my order, and by the time I get there, it'll already be ready. I can pick it up, eat, and then just get more time in my day to explore.
But for some reason, the location in the financial district wasn't offering like pickup orders. I don't know why. My heart was so set on heading there, heading to the financial district, getting my food, and just saving all this time. But for some reason, I also didn't want to look for another place. The food was a really good price, so I was like, fuck, I just really want this food. And so I decided, okay, I'm just gonna go to the one in downtown Brooklyn. And I was honestly like dreading it for some reason. I was like, oh, like I've already seen this area, whatever, like I just want to get to the next area. But I did it anyways, and long and behold, my walk to downtown Brooklyn, the downtown Brooklyn location, was so beautiful. And it ended up being one of my favorite places in New York so far. And I was like, what the hell? If that didn't happen, then I would have never seen this area. Like, I was so ready to leave Brooklyn and explore a new area, and I was so annoyed that I was being delayed in my plans for the day. Because I have limited time here, obviously. I'm only here for 4 days, but I'm so glad that I ended up going to this restaurant because I saw an area that was so beautiful. Everything is perspective. Like, even if something doesn't go your way, a new thing can come and it'll be twice as good. And honestly, like, again, I literally didn't have to go to this restaurant. I just wanted to because I found a good discount. Like, I found a good code for it. Like, that's besides the point. Like, I'm just really happy and grateful that, again, it didn't go my way and it ended up being twice as good. So that was really cool. I got my food and I sat in this little like square area where there was also a farmer's market going on. I decided to just keep exploring the area I was in. Immediately was transported to the cutest neighborhood I've seen ever. Like, I actually felt like I was on a movie set, like on a Hallmark movie set or something. Like, it was like Halloween Town. I don't even know. Like, it was so beautiful. And there were so many families out walking, and each street just kept getting better and better. I didn't get good footage of this because I was just so in the moment, but trust me, it was so beautiful. I think this video is truly all about just going with the flow and embracing the journey rather than the destination, because as I was going to walk towards the bridge to cross over from Brooklyn to Manhattan, I came across a beautiful park overlooking Lower Manhattan. And again, if I were to stick to my schedule, I would have just walked right through it. But instead, I decided to stop and take in the views, and I'm so happy I did. I walked along this beautiful, beautiful trail along the water. And I arrived in Lower Manhattan. I picked like a random train stop to get off at. As I got out of the subway, I was immediately just dazzled by all the old architecture and the enormously tall buildings that surrounded me. But I was starting to get really annoyed though, because
my portable charger that I charged all night while I was sleeping somehow magically just did not charge at all. And so I was approaching having my phone die, which I just could not let happen because, for one, my Met tickets, my Met for the museum, my tickets were on there. My way of getting back to the hostel was on there. My way of filming for this video was on my phone. And my way of essentially staying safe in the city alone was on my phone. You know, you just need your phone. So I just had to think of a solution fast. I was approaching a really tight schedule because I knew I had to head to the Met soon. I decided to bite the bullet and I just went to Target to buy another portable charger. I asked an employee if the portable chargers there were already charged and ready to use, and he said a very, very confident yes. And so I bought the portable, and after I bought it, I immediately went to go charge my phone, only to find out that the portable was only halfway charged. So, but if it was anything like my original portable, that would have been okay because I would have still been able to get a full charge without the portable dying. The portable that I bought was just, I guess, not as good as the guy said because it only charged my phone into probably 70% and then died later in the day. So I was honestly very frustrated, but I didn't want to let that emotion get the best of me, so I just told myself to, again, be grateful that I had more charge, hope that this would last me the rest of the night, which it obviously could if I just stay intentional with my phone use, you know, only use it to record and just find directions. That's what I did for the rest of the day, but the 70% ended up biting me in the butt later on.
And I will get into why later on. On the bus, I realized that I was right next to Grand Central Station, which I've seen in like countless movies. So I figured, okay, what's another 10 minutes gonna hurt if I explore the station? Like, you know, I can spare 10 minutes. I entered the main area of the station and looked up just to see the most beautiful, beautiful architecture. The ceiling was like this beautiful, like turquoise blue with these like astrological drawings. And I don't know the meaning behind the intention of these drawings, but to me it just felt very spiritual and beautiful. After a long bus ride, I made it to the Met. I was super excited. So overall, I absolutely loved the Met Museum. I arrived there at around like 5 p.m. and stayed there until around 9 p.m. The only thing that dampened my experience at the museum was my feet. I don't track my steps, but I spent probably over 11 hours of continuous walking that day, and usually I manage pretty well, but for some reason this all just caught up with me during my time at the Met, and so when I tell you my entire body was hurting, that is a massive understatement. I had to stop like every like 10 minutes in the museum and sit down and like take a break. Yeah, before I left the museum to head back to the hostel, I really wanted to draw a sculpture there, so I found a sculpture of this like woman. She was like holding a knife and it looked like she was contemplating. I thought it'd be super cool to draw her. After drawing, things took kind of a massive turn for the worst. Okay, so already at this point, it was so painful to walk, and I was just so ready to sleep and rest. And so I trucked it to the nearest train with my battery at probably like 30%, which I didn't think too much of this because I knew where I needed to go and which trains to take. So I got on the first train and then headed to transfer to my second train. However, after waiting for around like 30 minutes or so for the train, I noticed that something was off. There was no train in sight, and there were just like more and more people piling into the station waiting for the train as well, and it was just absolutely jam-packed with people. And there ended up being like this random guy that just like yelled to everyone like, there's no train coming, like I don't know, he said something like there's no train coming. And so I checked the train website for like any updates, only to find out that someone was tragically hit by the train and there was like an active police investigation taking place. So the train was stopped until further notice. So yeah, an hour went by, people around me were panicking. I saw multiple people starting to cry and like just literally sobbing, and I felt so bad, and I was just starting to worry because my battery was getting lower and lower as I kept like trying to like search my Google Maps, trying to find like alternative routes to get to Brooklyn. And I was also looking for trying to see if I can get an Uber, but the Ubers were looking to be like 60, $70, which I'm sorry, was just not possible for me to do. No. So I just kept waiting for updates, and at this point, I was waiting for like 2 hours, and there was no other way to get to Brooklyn, as my Google Maps was saying.
My maps was also like glitching and it was so slow and I didn't have service and it was just not a good time. And I was just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of waiting for the train to magically show up because there was people who had hope. They're like everyone was kind of talking amongst themselves, and there's people that were like, no, it's gonna come, and there's people who were like, no, it's not gonna come. So I didn't know what to do.
But I was not gonna pay for that Uber. Randomly, this older woman starts to talk to me, and we start to like relay information that we have to each other, and immediately we kind of just like banded together looking for answers and possible solutions because she was like heading in the same area I was. She was going further into like Brooklyn, like further out. I don't really know the directions, but she was in a different area of Brooklyn than I was, but we were heading in the general same direction. It was just like, okay, she was just the sweetest because she was so concerned for me getting back to the hostel. It's just one of those kinds of like situations where you feel so comfortable with someone from the start and you know you can trust them. And like we were like looking on our phones like to figure out what we could do because both of us were like, we're not gonna pay for an Uber. And after some time, she ended up finding a solution. There was another train on a different platform that was also going into Brooklyn and would ultimately just get me closer to my destination. So I figured if I got on that train, the Uber would be cheaper and then I could just Uber at that point because I have to. There's no other choice. And my phone was like probably at like 19% at this point, and dark and cold out, and I was just starting to get worried that my phone would die before I could get the Uber. But I also had this deep feeling that it would be okay. So we walked together through the hordes of people to the other platform, and we ended up having to take like two different trains that landed us ultimately in Brooklyn. She had to ride the second train longer than I, so we split off, and she wished me luck on getting back to the hostel, and I wished her luck on getting home. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it, but it was just so hard to figure out how to get home. So having each other's help was just so nice. The stop I got off was like in Brooklyn, but it was still like probably an hour or two a walk away from my hostel, and so obviously I'm not gonna walk. And there was like no buses that were like available. I checked my Uber and it was gonna be around like $16. So obviously that's so much better than $60-70. So I was so grateful. I immediately bought the Uber. My phone was at probably like 8% at this point. I was just praying that my phone would stay alive for the remaining minutes as I waited for the Uber, because sometimes when my phone gets cold, it will just like drain the battery even more and just like randomly die. And I waited for like probably 10 minutes, and I saw my Uber driver arrive, and I just felt this huge wave of relief as I got into this Uber. Words cannot describe the way I felt getting back to the hostel and getting into bed. I was so exhausted at that point, but I was also so fucking grateful that I made it back safe. And while this experience was terrible, it left me with an immense sense of gratitude for just humanity, because that woman did not have to help me, okay? Like she was the one that came up to me initially, and while we were both strangers to each other, we immediately just banded together and helped each other get home safe, and it seriously just warmed my heart so much. We both probably come from completely different backgrounds in life and would have probably never crossed paths otherwise, but it didn't matter, because at the end of the day, we both needed each other's help, and it's just always a comfort to have someone by your side in those situations. That was my night. I definitely got some good sleep. So today is the last day. My flight is at 9, so I'll probably leave. I'm gonna go to Manhattan. I'm going to the MoMA today. And I'll probably leave, I don't know, like 6. Right? Yeah, because it takes like 40 minutes to get there. So I think like 6 I'll leave. But yeah, I'm sad. My time's not over, you know. I feel like I have so much left to discover. I've barely seen anything. I want to go to like the World Trade Center area again, and then I want to go to like just explore more of Lower Manhattan, because I spent most of my day in Brooklyn Heights, which I'm not mad about at all, honestly. But yeah, I also want to see Chinatown and SOHO. That's all in the same area, so, you know, just the basic ones, but I really want to see them. I don't know. Can you call a neighborhood basic? I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, fuck. But, yeah, last day, I'm sad. From the area that I was in, I started my walk down to Chinatown. I forgot to mention that I have my backpack with me. I have all my stuff because I checked out of the hostel. But honestly, it's not bad at all. I feel fine. Definitely have back pain at the end of the day, but it's okay. As I was walking through Chinatown, I was so surprised to find myself also walking right into Little Italy. I ordered some food at a vegetarian Chinese restaurant and I got vegetarian chicken lo mein. This was literally yet another spiritual moment for me. What really put the cherry on top of this moment was the food. This lo mein was the best thing I put into my body this whole trip. It was one of the best things I've eaten this year. Like, it was so good. I actually can't even look at the footage because I just get jealous of myself for eating it. After eating and relaxing in the park, I decided to walk towards the SOHO area, which was like probably like 30 minutes, I'm not sure, I forget, but I walked straight down Canal Street. Immediately entering the SOHO area, the vibes were so much different. I swear, everyone around me was some type of rich or famous. Like, I could just feel it. Everyone had that aura of famous or rich. This next part of my day was probably the most pivotal memory that I have in New York. Every time I think back to my trip, this is what I think about. I stumbled into Washington Square Park and I immediately fell deeply, deeply in love with this park. There's like a huge crowd of people dressed up as Jeremy Allen White from The Bear. Should I join the crowd or no? I don't really care, but I also want to see what they look like.
From a distance, they definitely look like him. Their egos must be so boosted right now. Everyone's just taking photos of them. And like earlier, I saw this girl like completely like fangirl, and it's like it's not even him. Like they're cute, but I don't know.
I don't know if I said this before, but I was planning on going to the MoMA museum, which is like an art museum, but it was in this moment that I decided to just like completely skip the museum for another like trip or something and just spend the rest of my day in the park and in this like general area of New York, because while I really wanted to see the art at the MoMA, I realized that I would be missing out on the greatest art there is, which was this park. I was so inspired by all the people that I knew. I had to like get my sketchbook out and draw the people around me. And in this moment, as I started to draw, I was just like thinking about the fact that I'm gonna be at the airport in a few hours, and it was just making me really sad, especially like just being in this park. I was so enamored with the high intense energy that surrounded me. I said this in the previous video, but New York truly feels like the heart of humanity to me, and I was just getting emotional because this park really symbolized that for me once again. But yeah, I wanted to capture the people I saw around me in the drawing to the best of my ability. took the city in for the last time, knowing that within an hour, I would be back at the airport waiting for my flight back home. I was sad to be leaving, but I had this deep knowing that this wouldn't be my last time and that my journey here is just beginning. I got on the train to the airport, saying goodbye for now to New York. After traveling to countless other cities by myself, I've never felt such a unique city as New York. Again, I barely scratched the surface of all the neighborhoods and places to go there. I only went to like the more touristy ones, so I can only imagine what the other neighborhoods have to offer. I've never felt as overwhelmed in any other city as I did in New York. It is such a densely populated city, and that certainly caused me to feel very overwhelmed at times, as you saw in my last video. But it was also so beautiful to witness so many people living amongst each other. So could I see myself living there? 100% yes. Absolutely yes. However, I think if I were to move there, I would need to make sure my nervous system was in check because, like I said, the city can be very overwhelming. It feels like a city where you can truly do anything you put your mind to. Like, there's so many things to do and places to see and so many people. Some would say that New York is like the last place they would want to live because of the chaos that goes on there. I completely understand that, but when I think about my life and what I want, I realize that I don't really want a life of feeling comfortable, especially like in my 20s. I want the sense of being out of my comfort zone and being challenged, and I really just would love to see who I would become in a place like New York, like such a high energy place where there's so many opportunities. I want to become the best version of myself, and I feel like I could see New York being the place for me to foster that higher version of myself. Being around all those people constantly and being in a city that never sleeps, I believe, could really help me become a more confident, social, and ultimately like strong person. At the end of the day, my goal in life is to constantly just evolve. I want my art to evolve. I want my social skills to evolve. I want my view of myself to evolve. I could just really see New York being a place to help me achieve that. Now, am I gonna go just pack up my stuff and move there like tomorrow? No, obviously. It's one of the most like expensive places in the world, so actually taking these steps probably won't be happening for me anytime soon because I just need to prepare and just figure my shit out. But again, anything is possible, and I just like knowing that this is now a goal I have in mind and a vision that I have for myself, and I just want to continually work towards that. I still have a lot to figure out in my life, but this trip really brought me out of my everyday routine and helped me just like reignite the fire within me and the passion within me. This trip reminded me that I deserve all the dreams I set out for myself and that I can do anything I put my mind to. I hope that maybe this inspired you to visit New York, and I also just want to remind you that, like I said before, like anything is possible. Like, yes, it's an expensive place, but we can make it work. If you have a dream for yourself, like it is so possible. Don't let money stop you. Don't let other people's opinions stop you. That's just the motto that I live my life through, is that anything is possible. There is no dream that's too big. If I want to live in New York, I'm gonna live in New York, and I can't tell you when, but it's gonna happen, okay? But yeah, thank you so much for watching, coming along this adventure with me. If you want to continue to follow my life journey and my travels and also my art journey, because while I didn't really talk about my art much in this video, I want to emphasize that art is like one of my greatest passions in life, and this channel is going to continue to be a lot about my art. So if you want to follow my travels, my art, and just me, be sure to subscribe. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.